Good morning, folks. How are you today? Right now, let's bring to the stage Dr. Wallach.
Thank you very much. Many of you have heard my lectures recently, and some of you haven't, so some of it, not all of it, will be old hat to you, but for many of you it will be new. Our goal, of course, is to have everybody die after 120. I don't care if it's 150 or 200, whatever it is. We have the capacity, we have the knowledge to get you well beyond 100, no doubt about it. Everybody, when they die past 120, should only have 2 pieces of paper in your health chart, a birth certificate and a death certificate. If you have a 4-inch thick health chart full of all these surgeries and all these diseases, your doctor has failed you. The system has failed you. And we want to be known as the Home Depot of health. We want people, when they think of health, well, I'm not going to run to the doctor. I can do this myself. Just like when you're going to lay tile in your house. Does everybody call a contractor now? No, they say, I'm going to run to Home Depot and price some tile there. And so we have the capacity. Just quickly, the interesting thing of this, which is a September 2000 issue of Scientific American, cover article, almost the entire issue is devoted to human aging and 100-year-olds. There were lectures by different doctors. There were lectures by nurses, or articles by doctors and nurses. There were articles by nutritionists and dietitians, geneticists, gerontologists, and they all had different agendas on how to live past 100, but there was a common thread amongst all their articles. And the common thread was that everybody who lived to be 100 were mean, feisty, rebellious patients who did not listen to their doctor's instructions. They couldn't figure it out. The people who listened to their doctor's instructions to the letter didn't make it. They had these 4-inch thick health charts, the ones who listen to their doctors. And you're going to find out why in just a second. Again, all the experts in genetics and gerontology tell us that we have the capacity very clearly to live to be 100. It's not like it's a secret. Everybody agrees on that. It's not a mystery. It's not a fable we're coming up with that you can live to be well beyond 100. People do it all the time. How many, raise your hand, have you ever made a dish from a recipe, a cookbook, a magazine, card collection? I mean, we've all done that. Us guys, they don't raise their hands, but yeah, they love to cook. Make pancakes, make Pillsbury Doughboy muffins, And the reason why they put pictures in cookbooks and things like that is so that you know where you're going. If I follow this recipe directly, and I use the flour they recommend, and I use the type of sugar they recommend, and use the right type of shortening they recommend, my fruit cake's going to look like that. My asparagus lemon dish is going to look like that. My cranberry stuffed pork loin roast is going to look like that. Okay, that's why they put the pictures there. The same thing is true when it comes to health care. We've been using the same recipe, if you will, for health care in the industrialized nations for over 300 years. And so we can predict what the recipe outcome is going to be. We can predict that already. We know what a 25-year-old looks like. We know what a 50-year-old looks like. We know what a 75-year-old looks like, and a 100-year-old, and so forth. And so you can kind of look down the line. If you follow your doctor's instructions, you eat the way everybody's eating, you know what you're going to look like. Well, this is a pretty typical 85-year-old American. You're in a nursing home. You have Alzheimer's disease. You have macular degeneration. You've had cataract operations. You're deaf. Your teeth are gone because you had periodontal disease, which is osteoporosis of the face and jaw. Your thyroid has been removed for many reasons, so you're on drugs. You've had your shoulders replaced. You've had carpal tunnel surgeries. You've had your finger joints replaced. You've had multiple back surgeries. You've had angiograms, angioplasties. Stents have been inserted in your coronary arteries. You've had quadruple bypass. You've had a heart transplant. You've had maybe one lobe or an entire lung removed for many different things, including lung cancer, which is the most common cause of cancer in both men and women, regardless if you smoke or not. 95% of the people who get lung cancer don't smoke, never did smoke. There's a lot of good church-going Christians that never smoked, never been in a room with anybody who smoked, got lung cancer. That's because they're frying the fish after church and inhaling all those free radicals coming out of that frying oil. And then you can have your stomach banded and bypassed to lose weight. Or maybe you had ulcers and had your stomach removed. You've had kidneys removed. You've had kidney stone operations. You've had gallbladders removed. You've had your colon removed for polyps and cancer. Women have had hysterectomy. Men have had their prostate gland removed. And by the way, the newest information on the PSA, how many of you heard of the PSA test, ladies and gentlemen, for prostate activity? Since 1987 to now, when they actually done the survey, when they removed prostates because they thought it was cancerous by actual biopsy, only 2% were actually cancerous. 98% false alarm. 98% is a false alarm. No man, I shouldn't say that, but no man who's done everything right has ever died from prostate cancer. You can die at 80 and have prostate cancer, but the prostate cancer didn't kill you. Nobody should ever die of prostate cancer. They've had hip replacements, knee replacements. Feet have been amputated because they had diabetes. They're on 25 different medications for lowering cholesterol, for dealing with blood pressure, for thyroid, for diabetes, and many a pain and so forth. And if you follow the doctor's instructions, this is where you're going. This is where you're going to wind up. Wah! I'm excited. This is the recipe I want. I'm going to follow this recipe. No, I'm not too excited about that one. Maybe we have to get rich to live a long time. Well, there's never been a billionaire who lived to be 100. Think about it. Now, if money were important to living to be 100, you'd think that billionaires would live to be 100. There's never been a single one. This is just from a couple of months ago out of Forbes magazine. They said the average lifespan for billionaires is 78. The youngest one to die last year was 58 years old. He was the richest man in the United States. He was the heir to the Walmart empire. His daddy, old Sam Walton, when he died, left his entire empire to this guy, and he died at 58. The richest man in America died at 58. You see, money didn't help him at all, did it? I know, it's intelligence. That's it. We've got to get more degrees in school. That'll do it. There's never been a Nobel Prize winner ever lived to be 100. Linus Pauling came close. The only guy who ever had 2 unshared Nobel Prizes, got to be smart, died of prostate cancer. You don't have to do that, right? Died of prostate cancer at 94. So there's never been a billionaire who lived to be 100. There's never been a Nobel Prize winner who lived to be 100. Why didn't I think of it before? It's fitness. That's what it is. Everybody says, doctors say fitness is good for you. You got to exercise. Don't worry about supplementing because you get everything you need from your food, but just exercise. With the exception of 2 black gentlemen from the old Negro Baseball League days in the 1920s and 30s, there's never been a professional athlete ever lived to be 100. Now, if fitness was important, you'd think a significant number of professional athletes would be living to be 100 because not only do this fitness thing, but they also have lots of money. So money and fitness combined doesn't save athletes. But I love this title. Heart attack claims another fitness guru. The average lifespan for professional athletes is 62. I want to go there. So what is it? What is it? How do people live to be 100? We know it's not money. We know it's not intelligence. It's not fitness. So how do people live to be 100? Again, we can extrapolate information from animals. We've, in the last 75 years, tripled the lifespans of animals. Pet animals, laboratory animals, farm animals. We've tripled the lifespans. Do we do that with wonder drugs? No. Do we do that with genetically engineered protein, stem cells? Do we do that with heart transplants? No. We did it just by tinkering with the vitamins and minerals and the essential fatty acids and the amino acids in their little food. Human beings need 90 essential nutrients. You all know that. We need 16 minerals, 16 vitamins, 12 essential amino acids, 3 essential fatty acids. And fortunately for us, our food plants, our grains, vegetables, fruits, and nuts can take carbon dioxide from the air, use the sun's energy, and a process known as photosynthesis to manufacture carbon compounds. Wood, cellulose, starch, sugar, vitamins, amino acids, fatty acids. Yeah, plants can do all that. But you'll notice that plants cannot manufacture minerals. Plants cannot manufacture minerals. And 2/3 of the 90 essential nutrients are minerals. That's why we like to focus on minerals. Because even a blind hog can get an acorn sometime, as my daddy used to say. Which means that even if you're eating a cheeseburger with lettuce and tomatoes and onions on it for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, you can get some vitamins. You're going to get some vitamin C and beta-carotene and folic acid from the lettuce and tomatoes and onions. You're going to get some omega-3 essential fatty acids from the onions and the little sesame seeds on the top of the bun. You're going to get some B vitamin from the vitamin B-enriched white flour in the bun. You're going to get some amino acids from the cheese, if it's real cheese, and the meat. You might get some calcium if it's real cheese on the sandwich, but that's it. But you could live to be 18 to 20 years of age. You might even be able to have babies and be fertile, until 18, 20 years of age. But if all you're living on is hamburgers or cheeseburgers with lettuce and tomatoes and onions on a breakfast, lunch, and dinner, you're in trouble because plants cannot manufacture minerals. And most of our degenerative diseases, most of the things that kill us and worry us as we live are mineral deficiency diseases. Plants only need 9 minerals to be happy. We need 60. Plants can do very well on 3 elements. NPK, nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium. Farmers cannot afford to put in all 60 essential minerals. That's why they give animals pellets to make up that difference. They give them the pellets with all the nutrients in it to make up the difference because they don't know how many minerals are in that pasture. They could analyze it, but are they going to put 60 minerals in this pasture, this 10-acre pasture for these cows? No. So it's cheaper just to give the cow the pellets because they don't know how many minerals are in that hay or in that pasture. The longest-lived people in the industrialized nations, the one that have the highest average of longevity, are the Okinawans. And they live to be 85 on the average, and we live somewhere around 70, 72 on the average in America. And you go to Okinawa, it's 161 islands. Their soil is nothing but red sandy clay, much like the state of Georgia. There's a little bit of extra iron in there, but that wouldn't explain their 15 years living longer than us. And so Blake Graham and I went there. Spent almost a week, and we spent the first couple of days at the Department of Agriculture studying the soil and soil chemistry and plant chemistry there in Okinawa. We didn't find out anything really unique. And then we talked to the old people. We talked to about 15 of them. Half of them were men, 7 of them were men, 8 were women. These were all 100-plus-year-olds. And we only had to ask one question because this is a 25-year study. 25-year study in the Okinawans. It was identical twin doctors. One got a medical degree from Harvard. The other got his Ph.D. in pharmacy. And they spent 25 years there trying to figure out why the Okinawans lived so long. They counted how many steps they took, how many times a day they took a pee, what the volume of their pee was, how many hours they slept, how many calories they took in. At the end of the 25 years, they said, we don't know. I know.